For Islam in Egypt is on all sides, ever within reach of the masses, whether young or old. According to belief, Saint Abu al-Agag was drawn up one night at full moon to the heavens to have bestowed upon him knowledge and the precepts of the holy war. To remember this event, at the foot of his tomb, the members of the Rifariya Brotherhood subject themselves to trial by single combat, the baton dance. Allah's horsemen arriving from Palestine in 636, swarming over Egypt, which they took 3 years to conquer. Egyptian Coptic Christians were converted. Others resisted and maintained their Christian faith, but they had to pay tax. Since that time, muted hostility has at all times divided the two communities. The Muslims themselves have witnessed dissensions between the partisans of the Umayyads and the Fatimids, Sunnites and Shiites. Under varying flags, the clans, on this day of celebration, have come together, burying their differences. And symbolically, the young take up arms. On the day of the great procession, over 15,000 pilgrims come to accompany floats on the water carrying the saints' numerous descendants. Sacred boats. Might not the pilgrimage be a relic from the feast of Opet, which took place on this very spot 3,000 years ago? Departing from the Pharaonic temple, the procession goes off through town. Carrying embroidered, decorated canopies in the colors of the 8 brotherhoods, dromedaries blend their bleating with the chants and drum rolls around them. The religious aspect of the procession is basically in the hands of the menfolk. With their encouragements, the children and the women do take part. But only the men can recite the Burda, a poem to the glory of God. Legend would have it that Abu al-Agag indulged in a mystic form of Islamic worship, Sufism. One day, he decided to abandon the realities of the world and leave for the desert before withdrawing to Mecca. Sufism still has its adepts. In the night, in the mosque, every initiation brotherhood gathers around the tomb of the saint for Quranic chants and recitations. Advocating a return to simplicity, opposing our world to the world as it should be, and tirelessly repeating the name of Allah. Right up to the final stages, late in the night, the Sikr dance, an invocation, an incantation, rhythmic movements until ecstasy is almost reached. On the other bank of the Nile, near the mountain of Thebes, the colossuses of Memnon have been keeping watch for 3,400 years. In the Theban mountains, interspersed with valleys and passes, are an immense complex of royal tombs and sanctuaries. At Deir al-Bahari, the temple of Queen Hatshepsut stands against the cliff with its terraces, its ramps, its archways, pure lines along a revolutionary plan, the fruit of the imagination of an inspired architect, Senenmut. In one wing of the building, he erected a chapel to the glory of Hathor, the goddess of love. Hatshepsut, the pharaoh queen, unchallenged sovereign of Egypt, 14 centuries before Cleopatra. The walls of the chapel tell the processions and festivities which she organized. A dream brought her an order to conduct a divine mission. Amon commanded her to fit out her ships and send them to the land of Punt. Thus, 1,500 years before Christ, Queen Hatshepsut organized an incredible sea expedition, which was to bring back gold, incense, and myrrh, indispensable adjuncts for the purposes of worship. The Theban mountain, the summit of the west, in its valleys houses hundreds of tombs of kings, queens, nobles, craftsmen. But in the rocky mountainside, a host of dark holes lead to innumerable burial places. The lowly also aspired to eternity. In these holes there lie, side by side, the remains of the poorest of mummies. In the Valley of the Queens, there lie the wives of the pharaohs together with a few princes of royal blood. Tiny tombs, such as the tomb of one of Ramesses III's sons, where a ray of sunlight, reflected off mirrors, lights up the deepest of its galleries. In the funerary chamber, astonishingly fresh paintings describe the offerings made by the gods before the strange silhouette of the prince, still with his infant plaids. Tot, with his ibis's head, the master of wisdom, the defied pharaoh, Osiris with his green face, green, the color of resurrection. The whole of the very complicated mythology by which the ancient Egyptians attempted to reassure themselves, faced with the mysteries of life, and, even more so, of death. Standing 36 feet deep in the Valley of the Nobles, the tomb of Sennefer, mayor of Thebes under Pharaoh Amenophis II of the 18th dynasty. The vine tomb, symbol of life, for a single vine stalk springing from the earth made it possible to increase and multiply the bunches of grapes until they reached the sky.